Okay, we're back. We're doing day 10. And let's get back to the GeoGebra. So this is what we created in the last video. We had these vectors coming from the origin. Now notice that I didn't mention this in the first or the last video. So this first vector we created is supposed to not move. We're just rotating around that point. In a sense, what it's doing is it's shifting the whole image that you'll be creating over just by some amount in some direction, okay? But we also create these two other vectors by typing in 2. Well, these aren't vectors. These are points, Z3, Z4. But we got those by typing in 2. So just like before, we'll go over here to vector. From the origin, go to that point, call it G. And the next one will be called H. Yeah. So we got these 2 new vectors. Now, just like I mentioned in the previous video, we want to chain these together. So I want to get these vectors to translate over here. Okay, and the way you do it again is going to vector from point, click this point, and then click the vector. I'm going to go with G first. And then click the end of that and click the other vector, Z, so H here. And it went off the screen a bit. You go over here, drag it down. So there you go. And if we slide T, we'll see that they are changing. And you can see they're moving in opposite directions, which is what the pair that you created. Each time you get a pair, every time you type a new number. So we're just going to go up. So we just did 1, 2. We're going to keep going. And you don't have to go all the way up to every, remember, n is a big number. Some of you have n's of almost 100. You don't have to go that high. What's going to happen is these vectors eventually get smaller and smaller and smaller, so they have less and less impact, I guess, on the overall reconstruction of the original image. Okay, so back to a little cleaning up here. Click this. I'm going to click copy visual style to that and that. And again, I want to hide these. So I'm going to go on my algebra view, find Z3, check it. Z4, check it. G and H. And there they go. They're just hidden. Still there, just hidden. All right, I'm just going to do a few more just so you can see the idea. So 3, enter. Got 2 new points. So Z5, Z6, we go to vector. And I really wish I could disable that. It just gets in the way. So here, vector from this point to Z5. And from this point, the origin to Z6. So I got K and L vectors. And we're just going to repeat what we've been doing. So come over here to vector from point, go to the end of the previous translated vector. Click, so you click the point and then you click the vector. And there it is. Okay. You can zoom out so we can see it. Do it again. Go to the end of this and click there. It's kind of going up off the screen. It's not really a problem. It's if you want to try to get it closer to the origin, you can play around with the slider until it gets a little closer. See, it's a little better. So maybe like right there. Okay. And what do we want to do? Copy visual style. So it's very repetitive here. You start getting the hang of it. I want to hide these 2 initial vectors now that I've copied them over. So I'll go click, click, K and L. So I hid those. All right, we'll do one more. Get the idea. Enter. See that getting smaller? This is Z7, Z8. So smaller, they're closer to the origin. Their magnitudes are smaller. Now, they might get bigger from time to time, but over on the whole, as we get further out from 0, if we get close to 10, you'll see they get usually they get pretty small. So we'll do this one more time. Copy to the end of this. Oh, no, I forgot a step. We don't want to do that. We got to create the vector, right? So vector from the origin to Z7, from the origin to Z8. I can zoom in a little bit. P and Q. So and I want to go to this one. Go to vector from point to the end, click that, and then click P. And then go to the end and click Q. Okay. So I could keep going and doing this. It's just repetitive, right? If you got the hang of it in the last 2 videos, we're going to just keep going. And I'd like you to get up to 10 at least. Because if you want a close approximation to our original, and that's the goal, is to recreate our original using circles, then that's what you need to do. You need to keep doing this, but you don't have to do it for as many frequency values that you've had, right? So just let me clean this up. We got 2 more red vectors. So I have basically 4 pairs of vectors all connected. Zoom out. What does it do when I slide T? Okay, so you can see it's, in a sense, you can almost imagine it tracing, and we can actually do a trace. Let's just, what I like to do here is go to the very last point and test it out. I'm going to give it a different color, like magenta here, okay? And, oh, let's also go back to settings under basic, show trace. Okay, we're going to trace it out. So when I slide T, see it's making a trace. Now, if you remember, this was originally my image. Here is a squirrel. So what does the squirrel look like? Okay, so it doesn't look like it's tracing the curve yet, right? But it's only because I've done only 4 pairs. It's a very crude approximation right now. But it's moving around, you know, it's moving around and doesn't look like a squirrel at this point at all. I wouldn't expect it to. So I'm going to kind of jump ahead. I'm going to fill in 10 more without recording this because it's just a repeat of what I just showed you. So do that. Come with questions tomorrow, and we'll look at it in class. Okay. Let me stop the video here.